Good morning, everybody. I had a student send me an email about just having a little bit of an issue figuring out where to get started and looking at the descriptive writing task list and kind of being a little confused about where to go. So I wanted to make some other people probably maybe having the same issue, and so I thought I would kind of send out another screencast. I talked about this in that first day screencast that I sent out, like where to find all your resources, but I thought I would go in depth on this first one. That way everybody is on the same page. So you got in your email, you got a task list for this first essay, which is due on September the 15th. And it has a kind of a step-by-step process that you're going to try to follow in order to get your essay written. So you'll notice that everything has an action, like what you need to do, the task, whether or not you're turning it in. And I told you in the email that there are no submissions other than the essay that are required to turn in. However, if you will commit to this process and you will do the step-by-steps, then you will be prepared to write your essay by the time that comes around. So you'll notice that the first few actions are view the Introduction to Descriptive Writing screencast, complete Journal 1 on your own, view Normandy D-Day Invasion video, read and annotate Normandy Beachhead, and I talk about instructions for annotation using that Mastering Essay Elements handout that I gave you in that first week 1 that we did. Let me go back over. Sorry, I have like 90 tabs. This is how my life operates, on 90 different tabs at one time. Let me go back into the dashboard really quick. Let me show you where to find all of that information. Under the modules, everything is laid out for you step by step to follow that agenda. So descriptive essay, here we go. All right, so this top part is basically just background information on the descriptive essay. You'll also see that repeated in that first lecture on description, which is located here. That's that first item on your task list. Okay. Also completing Journal 1. Remember that all activities are located down here under the bottom. So here's my description lecture notes. Journal 1 asks you to think about a person, place, or event that has significant meaning to you. Search your memory for a collection of things that reflect the character of the person, event, or place, blah, blah, blah. Make a list and then describe them to yourself. And then I gave you a personal example of my own to kind of help give you a jumping off point. Remember, you're not turning this in. This is just the pre-writing stage towards your essay, okay? The next thing on the list is to view the Normandy D-Day Invasion video, which is located in the video section here in the History channel, just to give you some background information before you read Normandy Beachhead, which is located right above in Readings. Okay, after you read and annotate, and I talked about using that Mastering Essay Elements, that so what, and the 7 common moves that you are supposed to kind of do on your own that first week in that first getting started module that we had, and then making notes maybe on like as you read, like what is the author doing that in the introduction that catches your attention? What about their use of details? What about the author's style or his voice or attitude or his economy? All those things kind of help us shape into better writers, because we're emulating or recognizing first and then hopefully emulating those qualities that good writers have. I go over Normandy Beachhead in this video here, so like after you've read it and you've made some notes, I'm going to talk about what the writer does well in Normandy Beachhead, breaking down those 7 steps, those 7 common moves that Powell uses effectively in the essay, and talking about the so what factor. After that, you'll complete Journal 2. Once you've looked through Normandy Beachhead, you'll work on Journal 2, which is here for you. That's when you're taking that list, that collection of objects, and starting to focus your attention on 3 meaningful objects on your list. We're going to get rid of the ones that we don't think we would be able to fully describe or develop. And then once you have those 3 strongest objects, begin to think about how you could include more detail, maybe sensory details, figurative language, to kind of fill those out. I give you an example. I gave you a thinking aloud where I'm just thinking aloud to myself before I sit down and write it out. That way you can have that example for you there. And we're taking some of the good moves from Normandy Beachhead, all that detail, that descriptive detail, and adding it into our next journal entry. Going back to the module, the next thing is to read and annotate Dancing on 74th Street, which is located under your readings. You'll read the text for Dancing on 74th Street, Manhattan, August 1962. And then once you have all your notes and stuff collected, I go over that in that screencast called Dancing on 74th Street Analysis Screencast here for you. I talk about the good things that the author is doing. We talk about those 7 common moves again. And then you're ready at that point to start writing on Journal 3. We're still taking those 3 objects now that we've culled out the ones that were weaker, that we don't really think we're going to be able to develop. We're looking at our 3 strongest items. And then we're going to start infusing some original element into those 3 objects. That so what factor. You've got to make your audience care about it as much as you do. And you got to let them see it as more than an object. And so I gave you an example of my thinking aloud, my thinking process, and then also what that paragraph would look like when I develop it out, adding in that so what factor. Okay, once you've done this, if you do this and repeat the steps for all 3 of your objects, the body of your essay is written. Okay, you have your 3 objects, you've culled out the ones that you don't want to use, you've selected the 3 strongest, you've added in the detail, now you've given it a so what factor. You've literally developed the 3 body paragraphs of your essay at this point if you are following along. Okay, the next thing on your agenda tells you to take a look at the descriptive essay prompt, which is here. And surprise, surprise, all of our pre-writing that we've been doing falls into that descriptive prompt. Search your memory for a collection of things. Select the strongest ones to write an essay describing these things in a way that reveals something about the person or place associated with them. Use vivid sensory details, figurative language, creating virtual reality or a tangible picture for your audience. Decide on your so what factor to keep your reader interested and engaged. And it gives you some general guidelines about how long it needs to be, times, New Roman 12-point font, MLA specifications, which I go over in the next item on your agenda, which is located on a different page, but it's a useful page that will help you. So if you see that second to last thing tells you to view the essay resources content. Essay Resource Help Desk is going to be one of your best friends for this unit. It's got so many things in it that can help you. How to write a good introduction, sample intros from student essays, organization, how to organize your paper, how to balance your details, how to write a conclusion effectively. And then this one is so important, formatting an essay for 101 in MLA. And I give you even an example to use to help kind of set yours up, what your page should look like in MLA format. Okay, so that's there for you. It also has that successful essay checklist at the very bottom of that Essay Resources Help Desk that will help you. Once you have kind of roughed out your draft, then you can take that successful essay checklist and check to make sure that you are hitting all those high notes. Okay, the last thing on your list is to submit your final draft, which is going to be back in your module for the descriptive essay at the very bottom. And you'll see turn it in essay 1. Now, I have a sample essay that is located here as well for you. And I did not include that on your task list, but this is my sample descriptive essay from start to finish, set up in MLA format. I've got my creative title, and then I have my essay on my objects. And I only chose 2 objects for my essay because those were the 2 that I felt were the strongest. And I'm not giving you a minimum or a maximum on objects. Just know that the more that you choose, the more you have to develop and work through. So I always say that 3 is a good number to shoot for, because with an introduction and a conclusion, you would have 5 solid paragraphs for your essay. That's not the general rule of thumb. That's just a good pattern to kind of follow until you get your feet wet and you can start kind of toying with the structure of your essay. But that is there for you as well in your module to take a look at, to read, and if you maybe need some ideas, hopefully that will help give you some ideas there. So let me go back in one more time to the descriptive essay and see if there's anything else that I've included in here that may be of use to you that I maybe didn't touch on in the oh yeah, I have 2 actually, 2 helpful videos for you. One is to write your descriptive essay. I think this is
everyone.
Probably. Oh, I sound sick in that one.
3 journal.
Yep, I went over that. What I'm doing right now, I think I already did that for last semester. And then this one is writing your descriptive essay with my example, where I kind of talk through how I set up my essay in MLA format. That kind of thing is all there for you. So hopefully this helps get everybody kind of on the same page. It'll get easier as the time goes on, because you'll understand how my process and how it works. But everything is there for you, all the resources that you need, the order that you need to complete it in. And I promise, if you make the commitment and you work through the agenda and you do all the activities, that you will be prepared to write very successful essays. I'll talk to you guys soon.